Welcome back to the podcast. This is Aaron LeBauer, your host of the CashPT Lunch Hour. And today my guest is Andrew Tran. He's the founder and creative director of Physio Memes, helping make life humorous for people. If you haven't seen Andrew on Instagram or Facebook, you need to, and especially after today's episode, you want to go check out one of his shirts. Andrew, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you spending your time with us.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on, man. It's definitely a pleasure, being a good friend from you and just following you for a long time, even before I met you. So
awesome, man. Yeah. I was just thinking, I was like, shit, I should have worn your shirt, but I worked out in it yesterday. I have does your physical therapist even lift bro shirt, and it's all sweaty. So, but
same,
awesome.
man. I was going to wear your shirt too. Then same thing. I worked out a couple of days ago, so it's sweaty.
Yeah, that's cool. So, tell me a little bit, I know you, but I want to share what you're doing with everyone. So you're a physical therapist. Tell us a little bit, like, how'd you get into PT? How'd you get in, and how'd you decide that what you were doing once you graduated wasn't exactly what you were meant to be doing? Like, can you just take us on a 5-10 minute journey?
Yeah, definitely. I don't really have a really cool story, or like I got injured playing sports or anything. It was like, I love PT. I graduated just from high school, and I was just like, I want to be in the medical professional. Like, I love helping people. I love the musculoskeletal system. So I was just like, talked to my cousin, like, I didn't even think about it. She's a nurse at the point, and then she was like, what about physical therapy? I needed to pick a major at this point, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'll do that. And but for me, I knew like you had to go to PT school, having to go get your doctorate and go to grad school and all that. So I was like, I want to wait until my senior year, then figure out what the heck physical therapy really is. Yeah. So like freshman year, I just started like shadowing, outpatient ortho clinics, and then actually, going into pediatrics for probably 2 years of just like the Children's Hospital in Cincinnati is just amazing. And actually, when I went into school, like wanting to do that, and then like story of my life, things change all the freaking time. We'll probably delve into that throughout today's episode. But yeah, wanting to go to Peds for a little bit, went to school, like took Peds. I was like, hell no, I don't want to do this. So that's basically how I got into PT school, and like I've switched between ortho, like I said, Peds, a little bit of neuro, just kind of all over the place, and didn't really know what I wanted. But yeah, so after like all that, actually during, I've told a few people this, but during physical therapy school, I remember the second year I was getting burnt out. First year I did great, like striving for A's and all that stuff. And like every day, it's like, it doesn't really matter if you have 100 or just barely passing PT school. But I remember second year, I was just like, I don't want to be a physical therapist my whole life. No, I love it. I just don't want to do it. I was like, I can see myself maybe like 10 years or so, 15 years maybe, and doing something else. And I told a couple classmates, I remember turning it, and it was one of my really, really good friends. And she was like, I can't remember exact words, but she was like, that's dumb or that's a waste of time. Like, why would you do that? And I think I was just really burnt out because didn't really know, like maybe I get bored easily, and just, I don't know.
Are you the kind of person that you need something new and stimulating and exciting to like focus on?
I think so. I'm very ADD, so like stop me at any point because I can just ramble on forever. But yeah, I think I just like learning new things and just trying new things all the time. Mm-hmm. And the big thing was like I was actually down my second year just like mentally, because I traveled a lot in undergrad and like started like going abroad and doing all these things, and I was just like seeing all my friends who didn't go to grad school, and they're like, well, I got jobs with this company, and we're here for a week traveling and doing this and just traveling all over the place for work. I was like, well, I can't do that with physical therapy. Right. This is before I knew travel PT existed. Yeah. And one day, one of my professors, came up to me, like, he was like, dude, what's going on? Like, I can tell you're like, because I joke all the time, and it was like a good, like, span of time where I didn't, and I was just like going through the motions and whatnot. And I kind of told him the story. Then he was like, dude, I was a travel PT. I was like, wait, what? So that was kind of, you know, the spark that kind of got me back into it. I was like, okay, cool, like a little more motivated. I was like looking into travel PT, a little more excited about that stuff. So yeah, so when I became a PT, started off right away. They told me I need to get experience first. I looked for a bunch of ortho jobs and neuro jobs, and like I think I had 20 job applications out there. I had one interview and no job offers.
Wow.
I was
I get job offers all the time.
Yeah, now I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, tell me, like, I had this similar thing happen to me when I went to massage school. I was like, this is great, but I don't want to do the same thing for the rest of my life. I want to do something like, I'll be disappointed. I thought to myself, I'd be disappointed if I'm still doing this in 10 years. And in about 8 years, I was in PT school.
Yeah.
And now within 10 years of that, I mean, I'm pretty much not doing physical therapy. So like, was that kind of, were you like, oh yeah, like this would be great, but I've got something bigger in mind?
Yeah, maybe not something bigger, maybe something different.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like, now like I had zero interest in doing the business. So like definitely wasn't thinking that route, but I was just like, but for me, my mindset, I was just like, well, this is a doctorate degree. I thought I was making, good money from it, but the income to debt ratio wasn't factored in.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I don't know what I want to do that's going to make me the same amount of money or at least more amount of money, because I didn't want to at least go down in income at that point. But I was like, I don't know what it is. I remember telling my classmate, and after she kind of shot me down, she was one of my really good friends. Like out of all kind of like still love her, one of my good friends still. But I didn't tell much other people when I was in school. I was like, okay, well, I guess this is dumb. I don't know. But but yeah, so I was like, I didn't know what it was. I was like, I'm gonna do something different. And I think definitely like the travel component was big in my life.
Yeah. So when you got out of PT school, did you just go right into doing travel therapy, or did you go do something else?
Yeah, so I went straight into travel therapy after I didn't get any of those like 20 applications, no job offers or anything. So I was like, well, I guess I'll start applying, like start looking into, I was already looking into travel companies, but I was like, just keeping on the back burner, just building relationships. And I was like, you know what, let's just do this. And so I started off the contract a little bit outside of my hometown and started about, I think I did 2 contracts and then, started learning some, marketing and business and like branding with physical therapy with Greg Todd. And so then, again, story of my life, things always change. And I was like, oh, I can do something with this. And at that point, I'm just like, the way it was presented and like talked to a lot of other people, like, just like following you and just listening to like, all the stuff that you were putting out made it seem like, business in itself or opening a clinic or anything else, like wasn't as bad as I had thought. I knew it was gonna be a lot of work and, the grind and everything with it. But like the way school made it was like, you have to have $200,000 to open up your own clinic. So I was like, yeah, hell no. I like, that's more than my debt that I have now. So like, why would I do that?
Right. I just kind of laugh at that because everyone is like there must be the same business curriculum that they've passed out on all these, or the NPTE has some, number that they say, okay, students need to know it's gonna be $200,000 because everyone's like, yeah, they told us it's gonna cost $250,000 or $200,000 for business.
Yeah. We need to open up in a stadium, like super big square footage, like all this stuff.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so at that point, I was like, okay, cool. Like, kind of flirted with the idea. I was like, 'cause the way it's presented to me, it's just like going into school and like not expecting to do acute care if you never thought about it because you were all operational ortho mindset. It's like, okay, cool, or home health, like you just never knew about it, and now it just like kind of sparked that interest. So that's when it kind of like the entrepreneurial gears started turning with that.
And at what point was it like? Was there something that happened or changed that you were like, all right, now I'm going to create a business?
So when I created like the business with physio memes, it started off, so physio memes, we'll backtrack a little bit. Like after I graduated, 2016, and a lot of, I think this is around the era where memes started popping up and started going viral and everything with it. And I graduated and I was just looking up an account just for physical therapy memes. Like, I just started, Instagram. I was looking stuff up and there wasn't really anything out there consistently posting out memes. And So that's how it kind of started Physio Memes, literally just a memes page. And I was creating my own. If, people like, if I find one, I would just repost it or whatnot. And then like a year later, this is when it was kind of the same thing, but with physical therapy, like apparel. I was like,
Yeah.
I love physical therapy. Like I want to rock some like, PT apparel that's funny, like it's a little bit different. And like I saw pictures of like apparel, like maybe a few shirts here and there, but like there was no links, there was no sites or anything with it. So I started creating my own, kind of the same thing with the memes, what I started doing with apparel. And then I was like, like I can create a business out of this. And just learning stuff with branding and just putting yourself out there, being like with consistency and all that stuff, just learning business stuff along the way. And that's just kind of how I ended up starting Physio Memes with that business.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. So it basically came out of a passion and interest of yours.
Yeah.
For sharing and finding funny stuff. And you're like, yeah, other people want this. I mean, before you created like or sold your first shirt, were people saying, hey, Andrew, can you get me a shirt like that? Or where did you get that? Or were you like, maybe I'll create one and see what people think?
I think I just started like creating some just some stuff and then just posting, few designs here and there. And basically kind of slowly caught on. People were like, oh, like, you make sure it's like, and I was getting like small sales, just a few sales like here and there because people saw what I was posting. Some designs I posted were like pretty shitty. Like some of the stuff I have now, like probably isn't the best, but like I know started off like I have time hop. So every once in a while, like I'll see stuff from a year ago and I was like, oh, what the heck was I doing?
Yeah. What's your, what's the one that's your favorite? What's the design or meme that you think is the best, the funniest?
Design. Oh man, I feel like I always get this question and I'm never prepared for it.
I put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, it happens all the time. I feel like I get asked this in every interview. So
what's I'll give you a minute. What's the most popular? What's the most popular?
So the most popular one is one of my coffee mugs, and it's one that I was so hesitant to like release.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how people are going to feel about this. Especially with, our profession being majority females, like it's just like PC, like all this stuff. Anyways, but she wants the DPT. I loved it. And I was like, with that humor, I was like, this is very borderline. But it's like the highest sales I've had, and it's mainly bought by women. Wow. So I was like, okay, definitely not offending anybody with this. And, but yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's one of the most popular one. And then the shirt that you got, the physical therapist even lift, like that's a newer one that's blowing up a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then what's the one that was the worst, or even the one that you thought like, man, this is an awesome idea, and it was like crickets?
Man, I probably have quite a few of those. I was like, oh yeah, I love this one. I feel like I have a lot of them, but I have like over like 200 products now. So like on top of my head, I can't think of any right now.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this instead. So and I've done this too, where I've put out products or courses like, man, this is gonna blow people away. People are gonna want this. I'm gonna give it to you for $100. And then it's like, no one buys the damn thing. And then the thing that I didn't think people cared about, people buy a lot of, or, it's like, but as an entrepreneur, you have to be able to say, look, like this thing I thought was amazing and that no one wants, like, you got to figure out a way to, change it or keep going past it. Isn't that right? I mean, you probably have like 3 or 4 really good ones and, dozens of ones that people are like.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I guess, especially something that we learned, like, with business, like, one, you have to let the market dictate it. You have to kind of remove the emotion away from it, from what people want. Because what you think what people want is definitely not always sometimes it lines up, but sometimes it doesn't. Like if you don't ask them. So like earlier on, like, I mean, I don't even do this all on my product, but sometimes like I'll do either polls or just ask people like, hey, do you prefer this or this? And then like, I had people vote at the beginning a lot when I was starting off, and people were like, "We vote this one." I was like, "Really?" But I was like, "That's what you guys want." And I think just learning what your audience wants, and if you have a few different variations with it, like I'll still post things up and people just vote on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are there other ways or specific ways that you're surveying your audience? You're doing like Facebook or Instagram, doing anything specific?
Yeah, so especially with Instagram having the poll now with
Mm-hmm.
your story. So I was doing it on my feed, but doing the story just so much quicker. People just take literally half a second and just click one of the buttons, and then just voting that way. Sometimes I'll like just message just a few friends that like who are in the niche that would be like my more target audience. Of like I do something for like women who like to work out, then I'll just like probably like message like a small group of people with that. I've sent stuff to email sometime as well, and just getting people to vote that way.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. How else are you using Instagram to promote your business? Like, is that because you mentioned like you just started Physio Memes on there, and did it blow up right away, or did it take? I mean, how long ago was that, and did it take a while to get some
Yeah.
traction?
The first year it was a very slow growth. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just like putting stuff out there, like especially with Instagram's algorithm now, like the one's always changing. Like earlier on, like I didn't even like think about it or knew anything about it. I was just just putting stuff out there. But when I decided to a year later was when I decided to make apparel and products and put up a store and set all that up. Was I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well now since I'm trying to monetize off this a little bit, like I think I need a strategy with this. So then I started learning a lot more about that. Just trying to study and just learning from people who have done very well with it. And like honestly, the big thing, like there's no one hack for like growing, with Instagram. And I think a lot of people like want to know like what's the one thing, and if it's the one thing and everyone knew about it, like what's the one? It's like what's the one exercise that's gonna help me with my back pain?
Right.
It's kind of the same thing, and it's just like okay, well it just depends, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, depending where you're at. And but the big thing was like honestly consistency.
Mm-hmm.
That's just anything in life, with business, working out, just whatever you want to do is being consistent. And I think if that's a hack you want to say, and that's like the most boring thing. People are like, well, I want to hear something else. Like what hashtag should I use or whatever?
Yeah.
But definitely it's like me being consistent. When I started doing that, like I haven't missed a post since I decided to be consistent with it. I think it was like November of not this year, but the year before,
Mm-hmm.
and haven't missed a post since then. And I think that's helped out a lot.
Yeah. Was that the thing? Like just being consistent for a while that really triggered your growth?
Yeah, because the first year I wasn't consistent. I was just doing it whenever I kind of
Mm-hmm.
wanted, like just a few a week and just here and there. But like definitely
Yeah.
consistent, definitely helped out.
What's your posting schedule like? Are you doing like one a day, three a day, Instagram stories every day? What
Yeah,
else?
definitely post on my feed once a day, and everyone's audience is a little different. I usually have one post in the morning, and then if I have a second or third post, I usually try to space it out. In
Mm-hmm.
general, I usually do it for most audiences. Do it before lunch or school. I mean, it's lunch or school, like work or school in the morning, around lunchish time, and then like a little bit later in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do a second or third post, it's usually around the lunchtime or in the evening, and I kind of play with it. And then I try to stay on the story. Like I always want something on my story at all times.
Yeah.
So if people are like you're on Instagram all day, it's like it takes 2 seconds to want to either share something, like repost something, and like I mean you do it as well, right? It
Yeah.
takes you 15 seconds to do a little Instagram story or whatever, and it's just like do one in the morning, one at lunchtime maybe, and one in the evening or whatever. And like it takes you like less than a minute to do. So.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. Um, let's see what else are you doing? So, what else are you doing to promote, like how, like, because your business is a little different than a lot of people, who are trying to target people locally. It's more, you've got more of a national audience. So, what are some of the other things? You've got your Instagram. Are you doing anything on Facebook with Physio Memes, and you've got a website? Or is it mostly just the Instagram promotion that's driving traffic?
Yeah, it started off with Instagram. Like I didn't even start Facebook until almost a year later,
Uh-huh.
and I basically just hooked the accounts together. So when I post something on Instagram, there's a little button you just hit that also posts to Facebook.
Yeah.
So there's some people that don't have Instagram, some people don't have Facebook. So like Instagram's a little bit bigger because I started like almost a whole year earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I'll post on both of those because like I said, like not everyone's on both platforms. So it's just a little bit more of a reach that way.
Right.
And of course, selling the products on on my website that I have.
Are you running ads? Are you doing like Facebook ads or Instagram ads?
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So since Facebook owns Instagram, I just through the Facebook Ads Manager and just run ads through both of them. I've been doing that for about a year or so. Like I've definitely learned ads. Mainly I learned because like I didn't really mention this. I know, working with you last year, like I wanted to have my own practice at one point, and just trying to do both, having a practice and physio means at the same time was just like, I burnt myself out before I even started. And like, cause basically like, I realized like physio was a bigger passion that I had, not as much of a practice as I thought I did. And again, I still love it, but, mainly the stuff that I was learning with ads was towards like physical therapy practices. So like having to learn those, like at the end of the day, like, you've told me this is like business is still business, like making money, still making money. And it's just like, how do I use what I've learned for physical therapy practices into my businesses, right? Like into the marketing, like the messaging, attention grabbing, whether it's like headlines or post videos, whatever that is, a good offer. And so just kind of learning like that, and just like we were talking about earlier, like what does your audience want? And just like just talking to a lot of people. Like a lot of times I'll post stuff on my page. A lot of times I'll talk to a lot of people in the DMs. It's like, well, what do you want? So yeah, so learning with that, and like recently working more with e-com ads and just slightly different ways to go about it. But yeah, so I definitely do run ads.
Yeah, and are you using email as well? Are you doing marketing through email, or just like, hey, thanks for buying the shirt?
Yeah, I do a little bit of email marketing. I have an ad. Like, I mean, the thing is, like, it's no secret, and because like Facebook, you can literally go to anyone's Facebook business page if you guys are listening, don't know, and just look at the ads they're running, because apparently, like, I don't know, the transparency thing with Mark Zuckerberg last year, and it's just like, it's a sponsor. Like, you can see when some company does an ad. I don't know like why that was an issue, but so I have like ads that collect people's emails, and then doing some email marketing with that as well. Not as much as I'd like with sales or whatnot, but same thing with it's the consistency with that too. Like just people are just seeing the email, like they're not unsubscribing after 2 years. So like it's good.
yeah, that's cool. So tell me more about except you mentioned it, and I was gonna ask anyways, but you mentioned that you wanted to start a practice last year.
Yeah.
Tell me more about how did you come to the decision, like, okay, I want to start a practice, I want to start a clinic, and then what happened after getting into it for a few months?
Yeah, so when I learned like the marketing business and everything with PT, taking like that course, I was like flirting with the idea of opening a practice, and actually stopped travel with PT at that point after those 2 contracts. I worked for out-of-network practice that was transitioning from in-network to out-of-network. Like that was when I got hired on. And so learning the transition was actually, very rewarding and like interesting to see. And then working a little bit in that setting. And then, so I was like, at that point, trying to do my own thing. And I think the big thing was, after I learned like it wasn't as bad as it seemed, I think like, well, everyone's doing this now. And I think that was probably like a part of the reason why I wanted to open my own practice, like a cash practice, seeing how people are doing successful, and how like, if you want to make more money, you have to do your own practice. And like now I've realized like there's other ways to do business and stuff like that. So then Physio Memes was still not the point where I'm not like, 100% full time or anything with it. And so starting 2 businesses like early on, splitting, like you can't like trying to half-ass like 2 things, like doesn't work. But yeah, so working with you, like I was seeing like maybe a couple patients at that point, just like early on, but like having that realization that having to pick one or the other, and like I ended up going back to Physio Memes, because like that kind of grew out of nowhere, like, and that passion just kind of developed, and I always wanted to keep it as a side hustle. Then I realized like, well, this is where my passion was, even though it's not making as much money, profiting off, less money off a t-shirt versus, $150, $200+ an hour. Like I'm willing to, you know, go with my passion more so than like, not that like it's easy, you know, selling $200 a visit or anything
Right.
like that. But so that's just kind of how my journey ended.
Was it like, were you like working out one day, you're like, that's it. Like, I'm not doing this. Or did it hit you all of a sudden, or was it something that was just underneath there? It's like, why am I not putting in the effort or something like that?
Yeah, like
You know?
so for the listeners, I know you know this story a little bit better since I was working with you last year. Like there was like 6 weeks where I wasn't working at all, like no PRN or nothing really.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just in hustle mode of like trying to do this. We had done a mastermind, you know, 2-day mastermind together, and was all, you know, all in on this. And I was just super laser focused. Like this is definitely what I wanted to do. And I was like, physio means to be on the back burner. And at the event, met some people who like for the first time, like I didn't, like kind of knew on social media, whatever, met in person. And then one of them was like, we were just talking, it was about physio memes. It was like, wait, what? Like, this seems awesome. Like, why aren't you doing like with physio memes? And then like other people were, you know, during that weekend as well at the live event, was like kind of like asking about stuff like they want to do apparel for their businesses. Like I got so many people coming up to me to like, well, I need help with this, I need help with this. And it was like, why aren't you doing this more? Like, you know, you're doing a practice, like what's going on with physio memes? And I think that was like the wheels started churning like after that mastermind. And I was just like, oh man, like am I doing something wrong? And then like I was just like kind of talking with some people and like having some hard conversations with myself. And then I was like, screw it, you know, I'm so open to practice. And then like the week after I came back, like thoughts going to my head and everything. And like, I was still trying to like, again, do 50-50 with both. And,
Right.
and it wasn't working. And I burnt out, was very stressed and had a lot of anxiety and stuff. And then that was when I realized I was like, I can't do this, you know, just for my mental sake and everything. So,
Yeah.
so that's kind of how that came about.
Yeah. Basically choose one thing and go all in.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So right now you're still doing some contract work or something like that, or how's
I'm still working. I'm working PRN right now. I was doing a contract job before here. I'm down in Charleston now. Came down to visit and couldn't find a contract job down here. So I just had a PRN job, just working per diem. So doing that on the side still. And, you know, it's still nice where like, I don't feel the stress being the PRN guy coming in. We're like, you know, the bureaucracy behind like, you know, some like certain like, you know, being the full-time employee, like productivity and all that stress and all that, like I just come in like whenever they need me, and it's just like, so it's like a little less stressful.
Yeah. So that's cool. So that still allows you, because I think one of the things you said to me was like, I don't want to get pinned down in one area.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to get pinned down. I want to travel and I want to be able to go different places. And so with a combination of an online business and PRN or even travel, you could just like move around to different places and pick up work.
Yep, exactly. I'm liking it down here in the Carolinas, man. So it's a lot warmer than Ohio, where I'm from. So it's like I said, like I'm PRN, so I was like, all right, you know, if I want to go somewhere for a weekend, a long weekend, or go to an event or whatever, like they're like, hey, can you come in? I'm like, nope.
That's awesome.
So that's nice.
That's cool. You think you'll be down there for a while? Or are you gonna go check out somewhere else?
I don't know. I was expecting to be gone by this point.
Yeah.
But I moved down here like right during the winter time, so like I didn't see any snow, which was nice this year. And I don't know, things are getting warmer. I've started to create more friends here, and I'm like, I was trying to leave, but like this is kind of nice. So we'll see.
Yeah. Charleston's an awesome city, man. I've been there a couple of times, and the food is awesome. It's a cool old town. I love it. So
yeah, exactly. So we'll see. Maybe I can just decide one day like I'm tired of this and just like pick up and move, which is like ideally kind of what I want in my life. Like, you know, big things like just traveling whenever I want. I like it here so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I totally get it. Like that's one of my goals is to have location independence. and be able to go where I want to go, when I want to go, and, you know, go live somewhere for a month or two or a year.
Exactly.
So things that are holding me back right now are having two, you know, little kids in school. I can't just move them around. That's really awesome. So I want to get back to a little bit of the process of your business. Like, so you're obviously not, you know, living in Cincinnati or Charleston. You're not the one like packing and shipping and printing all the shirts, right?
Nope.
No. So can you tell me a little bit about like, how does that work?
Yeah. So it's a process of print on demand.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you know, the stuff I have on my site, I've partnered with another company essentially, like, you know, to do the fulfillment side. Mm-hmm. So whenever I make a sale, I have like, you know, my designs. So basically, I kind of like own my designs. It's like, you know, like the product. And when a customer makes an order, it gets printed. The company will get it. They'll print it, package it, and ship it out to you, make it seem like it's from me. Yeah. Like, I mean, it is, I guess, for me, but like, I don't ever have to deal with it. Yeah. So that's the other part of like being able to travel and do whatever. Like, if I can just do it from my laptop, like they're like, you know, working with the company, able to fulfill and print all that for me. So, order doesn't get made until shirts don't get made, or whatever doesn't get made until someone puts an order in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you basically create a design, you email it or upload it somewhere, and you choose like how the product looks and everything, and the order comes in, and it goes, basically this other company gets notified, they print it, they ship it, and then you get the profit.
Yeah.
And there's probably a picking or pay, you know, like some kind of, they get a cut of something and you get a cut.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So is this like, is it just like a drop shipper, or this is a company, this is the company that they create the product and they ship it for you? Is that right?
Yep. So so they have all like the shirts and, you know, the apparel, the merchandise there. So like just a blank one, and basically just prints it on there. So like, so they do get a cut because of like, you know, them doing it on demand, the labor for that, and then also them shipping it. So like the profit is just a little bit less than if, you know, if you have a clinic and you want to order 100 shirts and you want to give it out to your patients, the cost per shirt is going to be a lot less because you're bulk ordering and they can do it all at once. It's a lot easier that way, but to do like on demand like that. So that's the downside of it. Mm-hmm. But for me, like if I order a bunch of shirts, like we said earlier, like this is not so hot, like I love this and it's crickets. I got 100 shirts sitting over here. Like what the hell am I doing? Right. If you have like a winning, you know, something that's like a winning product or whatnot, like you can have a bulk order with that and you know, do it that way. If you know it's going to sell out. So like a couple ways to go about it. I have a friend who does very well with his and t-shirt company. Like he's not in the PT space or anything like that, but he, you know, bulk orders it and does well and sells out and all this stuff too. So just kind of like whatever works best for you. For me, the print on demand works a little bit better just for my lifestyle. Yeah,
no, that's cool. So any tips or tricks? Because, you know, we're starting to work with a company to do some drop shipping and that kind of stuff. Like, is there anything that you've run into when doing that you're like, make sure you ask about this or don't do that?
So what I usually tell people is, you know, 'cause I've switched companies a couple times since I've started. Some of it just based on speed, some of it based on either quality issues. More, it's not too often, but like one of them had more than I'd like. The customer service, just kind of all that. So the big thing is, you know, if you're going to do a print on demand and then doing with that, just make sure you're happy with the quality of the shirt and products. So just have what samples sent to you, you know, just have it and order it and send it to you. And then like, if you're fine with that, like for me, when I first started, I didn't know like the names of any of like the brands of shirts, the blends and all this stuff. And people were asking me this stuff. I was like, I thought a shirt was just a shirt.
Right.
So it's just doing that. Like, and if you want something specific, right, make sure you order it and see if you'd like the feel for it. And and do it with that. So I think that's the biggest tip. In most places, like especially now with print on demand and doing all this stuff, like most of the places are pretty good. But it's just like so just test it yourself, and if you're gonna do that, like see how long that takes to get to you and process and all that stuff. So
that's awesome. What are some of the other like software or things that you're using as an online entrepreneur and business owner? Like what are some of the things that like are making your life easy?
Oh, I probably need to do more of that stuff. Of I'm not as organized as I'd like. So with let me see with just having tasks, having a whiteboard. Like I'm really bad at writing things down in a planner, like the productivity planner. Like when I worked with you, you gave me like I was using that for a while, and then I tried a different productivity planner, and I think me just writing things down. I know it's better to write it down. Maybe I just need to discipline myself a little bit better, but just using like Trello, a Trello board. I think that's something that's nicer. It's just because I think I'm on the go on my phone a lot more. Things a little bit easier, and I have starting to having more people like help out with physio means slowly growing, and just having to use that for his tasks and stuff. And I think has definitely helped me out a lot.
That's awesome. Are you have other people working for you, or you have like brand ambassadors or doing anything like that?
Yeah, I am working on getting some brand ambassadors more on a consistent basis. I had an intern, or have an intern who honestly she's a PT student now. She's awesome. And she literally wanted to do the exact same thing that I was doing. And I was like, I was going to show her. I was like, like abundance mindset, like I've showed a handful of other PTs who are trying to do what I'm doing. And, I see other people making shirts, which is awesome. Like, the more awareness we can get out for physical therapy and more humor and stuff, like, it's awesome. And so I was showing her all this stuff, and she was like, well, I'm a student. I don't have any money to even, have a store up for just a monthly payment or whatnot. So I was like, well, if you want to, like, I can show you everything I'm doing. Because starting off earlier, when I just started, I didn't have money to pay her for that. And, now I'm paying her a little bit. So just for certain tasks with that. So it was just nice having to be able to delegate that. But yeah, I was like, at any point, if you want to do this, like on your own, like you can go ahead, or, you can just help me continue going with it. So yeah, just little small stuff. I'm actually working on hiring someone else as well, going through the process right now. Just started yesterday. So.
Oh, awesome. What kind of role are you looking to fill, or what are some of the things that you like don't want to do anymore?
So basically with e-com, it's a little bit different. It's a lot of launching a lot of products and just finding like the winning product, or one that people like a lot. Cause like you can put stuff out there, but like if it's not getting in front of people, just launching a lot of ads essentially. There's a strategy with it. I know like different strategies with the PT clinic is like, let it run for a little bit longer, seeing the metrics or whatnot. But for e-com, it's just like, money loves speed. So it's just like, put this out there. And there's a lot of other industries where it's like people like are, using like very similar designs or whatnot and just doing their own variations with it, which is fine, whatever. So I'm delegating, like, I know how to do it now. I've set up my systems finally. And I'm basically someone just running my ads and launching products. Like, it's not hard. It doesn't take too long to do, but it's just like, this is getting tedious now. Like, it was good for like a month. Like when I just like had worked with a coach and he kind of showed me the new strategy with that. I was like, okay, this makes sense. And I was doing it, but now I'm just like trying to just delegate that end of it.
Yeah. With other people doing this too, and as this grows, are you having any issues with copyright or people, copying your stuff or do anything like that? Or are you?
Not yet. I haven't had that issue yet. I think with just physical therapy, it's just so niche. Not a lot of people are in the e-com space and, doing print on demand or drop shipping or whatever with physical therapy just yet.
Yeah.
So I think I, entered in the space at a good time. Like other niches like the entrepreneurial one. Right? This is always going to
Hmm.
be an entrepreneur brand, like dogs and cats and like nurses is a big one, right? Because just nurses, like there's a lot more nurses in the country, in the world,
Yeah.
than physical therapists, and people know what the heck they do.
Right. Are you branching out into other professions like nursing, OT, even like fitness stuff?
So I have a little bit of fitness stuff that I try to integrate with what I'm doing now, because PTs, we exercise, and or should be, and I I do want to branch out because a lot of people have told me that, but I was like, I started thinking about it again. I'm ADD as heck, so I just
Yeah.
need to like focus. I was like, let me do well with this first. Hopefully, delegating with this, like things go well, and with this new person I'm bringing on, and I definitely do want to get more in the healthcare, the whole healthcare space with it.
Mhm. Awesome. What's next for Physio Memes? What's the next, few years going to bring? What's your goal?
So like my end goal with Physio is kind of like what I got started was just creating memes and just always want to create like just humor and laughter and whatnot. Like that was my goal when I kind of started that. Like,
Hmm.
um, and then I didn't realize this when I first started because it was honestly kind of a selfish thing of like, I just want my own shirts, like if people want to buy it, sure, here it is. And just slowly realizing stuff, that it was a marketing thing and a brand thing for like just whatever the business and companies are. So like, or even just professions. And I realized like this is branding in a way, branding the PT profession. And just like everyone else is probably listening, like no one knows the hell physical therapists, what we do. So like, it's just cool. Like when I have had people tell me, like even like one of my shirts, that says like sipping on my tensor fascia latte. And, people are like, oh, what kind of latte is that? What kind of drink is that? Whatever. So just kind of creating the conversation, creating the humor with it, or like someone had like a physical therapy and chill shirt on, and it's like, oh, like, oh, funny, like, Netflix, whatever. And then they're like, oh, so you're a physical therapist? Like, I need physical therapy, and just people wearing that. I have like a pelvic health therapist basically telling me like one of their shirts that says like vagina doctor on there. And they're like,
Hmm.
oh, so kind of like, what do you do as a vagina doctor? OB, like what do you do? She's like, no. And she actually gets a lead every time she wears that. Like she tries to like wear that as much as possible. And like she gets leads on it all day, just having that conversation. And I was like, that's the fucking easiest way to get a lead for like, like a $25 shirt
Yeah.
of doing that. She's like, this is like a big way, like it's like a billboard. So
Yeah.
that's like, and I didn't realize that at first. And it's like, so my goal with Physio Memes is to help physical therapy, like physical therapists, whether it's the profession, to people's businesses, because I realize a lot of people just don't have apparel for their business,
Hmm.
and just kind of promoting that, the physical therapy profession and the brand, because as all of us, and I know you said something, along the lines with like, your goal is to prevent, 100,000 unnecessary like back surgeries or surgeries. And like, my goal is kind of like, very, very similar to that, just like as any other physical therapist, preventing unnecessary surgeries, like the opioid epidemic that's like, very, you know, bad in our country right now. And if bringing that awareness, whether with, through apparel, that's my goal with it.
Hmm.
Helping other companies do that, and also with some own products, and bringing, humor and laughter kind of along the way, just kind of doing rather than just saying just physical therapy, like,
Right. That's awesome, man. That's really cool. That's like no one else is doing that. Like even so, Caitlin, the woman who's working with me now as our physical therapist, she anytime she wears a shirt that says physical therapy something on it, she picks up new patients. I mean, she worked out. She does powerlifting and
mm-hmm.
worked out the other day with your shirt on, and she got 3 total body diagnostics out of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. And like, even if it's like a little bit of your own clinic and stuff, like, a lot of people just, you know, it's one of the cheapest ways to market.
Yeah.
I think, and it's just like having good shirts with it, and definitely something that I started to realize like earlier on. Like it was after like a few months, and I had realized all this, and just like my vision of like of you can only do, and you know this as well, like you can only do so much being one-on-one training that time. So like having a bigger impact doing it this way of doing through the online world and, you know, affecting this, like that's my vision with Physio Memes.
That's awesome. Is there anything that you would go back and do differently? You know, looking back over the last few years, like you're like, oh, I would do that differently, or I shouldn't have done that.
So I know your audience is a lot of, you know, CashPT, business owners learning all this stuff. Set up your systems early on. I told myself a year ago today, I was like, even before, more than a year ago, I was like, I'm gonna have all my systems set up. And like when I started, like that's one thing I learned, right? Learning business, and I just never freaking did it. And like I've done it now. But now I was like, all right, hire some people on and go through all this stuff, and it's just like, do that before you get busy. I was like, oh, like I'm not that busy now. Like I'll just do it later. I'll just do it later. And like a whole year later, that's when I set things up, and it's just like. So I think that's one thing I would do differently, because I would probably be a lot further than where I'm at right now. A lot less stressed and all over the place. So once you figure out something that works for your business, like just record it, do that, make a little training for it, and then like that'll make your life so much easier. And then if you want to bring someone on, you know, when you're ready to delegate, like boom, go through that.
Right. That's awesome.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it took me 5 years to do my systems. And I was like, oh shit. Well, that's awesome. That's a great, you know, so at least you got it 4 years earlier than I did.
Yeah.
If someone else who's listening wants to get into some, you know, business or even just online business, what's your best advice for them? Well, I mean, besides creating your systems, and which is great.
Exactly. No. I think in general, if, you know, listening to this and wanting to start your own cash practice or even online business or anything like that, I think just don't wait till things are perfect. I think just getting started and putting yourself out there, just doing that, just taking action, you don't know where you're going to go. Right. When I first started, even with just Physio Memes, like I was like, I'm just gonna do apparel and doing all this stuff. And then like some people started reaching out to me, is like, I didn't really think about doing this, like making apparel for other people's companies. And I'm like setting up people's stores, making them shirts, designs, whatever that is. And I never thought about doing that. But like people came out to me, just like doors open, like opportunities open. You start having connections, doing stuff. But if you're like sitting back and not doing anything, you're waiting for the perfect timing and doing all this, like it's just never gonna happen. And like there's certain things, like even with myself, like as I say that, like taking that next step, like I'm like like it's scary, like the unknown. And it's just like, what happens if I do that? And it's just like, but you just start taking action, just doing something. You're gonna mess up along the way, things are gonna be shitty along the way. It's like I have a bunch of, you know, shirts that never sold, designs that never sold, and you know, like I think that's just a big thing. Like you never know what's gonna happen once you start.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. Well, congratulations on your success. I know you've come a long way, and you got some big impact to make in the world, especially in our profession. So,
thanks, man.
Yeah, if someone wants to get in touch with you to, you know, find you on Instagram, get a shirt, even get you to help them set up a store for themselves or the other stuff you're doing, like how do we find you? Where should they go? Yep.
So my website is physiomemes.com. I think we scroll all the way to the bottom. All the social media handles are down there, but it's Instagram is at physio_memes. And if you want to, you know, reach out to me there, or just email me, andrew@physiomemes.com. So any of those works. You know, online business, so like, you know, on my phone a lot, or at least, you know, more than I probably should be, but yeah, so those are good ways to reach out to me.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome. Well, thanks for being here again today. I really appreciate you spending time with us.
Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah. All right. So for the CashPT Lunch Hour, this is Aaron LeBauer and Andrew Tran, and you guys have a great day. We'll see you on the next show. Peace.